One reason that the White House was reportedly considering executive action was to try to goad Republicans into a fury in which they would refuse to pass a continuing resolution, put the government into another shutdown, and thereby block what the administration was going to do on immigration and obviously have a voter backlash, they hope. Now, Michael, your group, Heritage Action, has actually said that if the president went ahead with unilateral action to delay deportation for millions of immigrants, shutting down the government would be a reasonable response. Really?
No, Chris, I think the people talking about a government shutdown are the Democrats. President Obama.
Your organization has talked about it too.
The question that you get is that you're getting at is what tools does a Congress have to represent itself as a co-equal branch of government against an executive who has no respect for the separation of powers that have costed that have worked for our country for the last 200 years. Can you imagine if Mitt Romney had won the presidency, said, you know what, we're just not going to enforce the capital gains tax this year because we don't have the resources to get it everything. Everyone would rightly be infuriated. Nancy Pelosi would be taking action against it, and that's what you have going on with this situation. But nobody's calling for a government shutdown except for President Obama, who's trying to find a Hail Mary pass he can throw with a Senate landscape that looks terrible for his party, and rightly so. His policies have been terrible for the country.
George, would a government shutdown, another one, particularly after the experience of last fall, would it be suicidal? I mean, I was thinking this might be a classic case of grabbing defeat out of the jaws of victory.
It would be suicidal, and I think almost everyone recognizes that. I think they recognize that the disaster of last October's shutdown enabled them to be rescued only by the bad rollout of Obamacare, and they don't want to do this again. The question right now, the stark fact is that every Democrat running for the Senate has to run 10, 12, 13, 14, sometimes more points ahead of the president's job approval in their states. The old axiom is all politics is local. The question now is how much of any politics is local anymore now that it becomes a referendum on the president and on great national issues like foreign policy and immigration. But there are local ingredients. North Carolina, the question is what the Republicans have done in the state government are deeply unpopular with some people. In Arkansas, Tom Cotton, the Republican candidate, voted against the Farm Bill in an agricultural state. In Kansas, there's a third-party person, an independent running, who could scramble this. So there are lots of local variables, but the primary driver of this is the president's job approval.
The problem the Republican Party has, Chris, right now is too many people are sitting around waiting for a wave to take them across the election line. If you want to catch a wave, you have to paddle. And I think the Republican Party over the next couple of months can do great things to show the American people that it's a party that stands for opportunity for all Americans and favoritism to none. I'll give you an example of one of them. The Export-Import Bank, which the President of the United States has called a fund for corporate welfare, comes up for reauthorization. The Republican Party should stand strong and say, we are the party that if you give us control, we will make sure that it's all Americans who are taken care of and not lobbyists that the President of the United States plays golf with. But you can't do that by keeping your head down. You can't do that by not standing for something. And I think that's what everybody out there is waiting to see so that we can have this wave election that I think will deliver 52, 53, 54 seats if you actually fight and try to catch the wave.